Hello and welcome in. I am MissKinghorn and we are back here in The Sims 4 and we are building in the brand new world of Gibbi Point, and we're actually in the Wanderwood Wilds neighbourhood, which has got like the big glacier, it's got lots of butterfly conservation, all of that, and I thought this would be the perfect place to create a kind of small family home for the family that lives on here. So this originally was the Wanderwood Wander family residential home, and I have basically rebuilt their home for them into here. You might be able to see them in the bottom corner at times. So this turns out to be a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom family home with lots of other bits and pieces in there, predominantly but not exclusively using the new pack. As you can see here, lots of sort of new items coming in, some of which I love. Maybe majority of them I'm probably never going to use again, outside of this kind of couple of builds. There is definitely some strange items, let's put it that way, in there. I think the play equipment, sort of for the big sort of climb frames and things like that, which I don't actually use in this build, but those I feel like are going to go into quite a lot of builds. The wallpapers, the external kind of wood wallpaper, I'm going to use a lot. Yeah, it just seems a little bit weird. I don't understand. I think that's probably one way of putting it. I just don't quite get this pack. And I feel like it's something that a lot of us have been saying for a while, I'm gonna be honest. But yeah. Anyway, back to this build. Here we are working on the roofline. So I tried to go for like a cabin-y, kind of in the woods, really nice, sort of simple kind of build. I was doing this on a rush. At this point I have not done anything else. I looked at the map and I thought this 30 by 20 is going to be the perfect place to start. We're gonna just build in here. And then I cracked on with it. So I have not had a look at any of the build by at this point. I'm learning for the first time when we place things. I haven't been into Kaz, I haven't been into the world, like other than this lot, the world, I haven't seen anything. Now I did see a couple of sort of early access videos of like the build by overviews and things like that. Yeah, some of them were good, some of them, I've got to be honest, weren't quite so good in there. As I say, I think this is a pack where I'm going to use very limited from it going forward. But yeah, that's something we'll discuss later on when we actually place the items. So this build, I wanted it to be, as I said earlier, kind of very cabin-y, kind of very woody, kind of nature, but also a little bit modern. So we've gone for some really big windows, natural light coming through, those sorts of things. I think we've kind of tried to get in here. It does feel quite dark, and I have actually changed the lighting sort of round from, I think we're now in morning, which is like the best for this lot. It's still pretty bad, I've got to be honest. It was also like really cloudy when I was building this, because obviously now we have seasons in game. It was, yeah, so that's why it's a little bit dark in here. I do apologise for that. Hopefully that will be fixed soon. I don't have any mods. The only mod that you might see is the red shelf, which really isn't really a mod. It's just a building tool that we use in there. So I wanted this sort of wraparound porch along the front here, to and around the back here, just to kind of provide a really nice side kind of elevated area in here for how this all kind of comes together. And yeah, we have access in the back and also via the front here. as well. Now we have 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom downstairs, and then the sort of main parents' bedroom with their ensuite upstairs. The upstairs is quite small, and it proved a bit of a challenge, I've got to be honest, when it came to kind of working out the floor plan. Downstairs was pretty easy, upstairs wasn't easy. Now you will see me here, I placed these white shutters from Horse Ranch. I go round and round in circles with colour schemes for this. It feels very dark, especially when I was building this. I was not sure how it was going to look, and it just feels very, very dark, so I wanted to lighten it up a little bit. We do end up settling on the darker wood shades in here, but yeah, we've gone for the white flowers, just a kind of a nice pop of colour coming through into here, and yeah, I think it actually kind of works okay. Eventually, I think it's one of those items where I'm not entirely sure what I really want with it, but I think the whole look of this sort of cabin is coming together really, really nicely into there, and yeah, this build is slowly coming together. Loving these sort of rocks out the front here for this sort of footpath. Now, I do have move objects on, but it was still really, really clanky, and normally I would use tool for things like this, sort of getting them semi off the lot and things like that. And also, you're going to see that my frustration in just a second with planting. I warn you now. So I also, because we're close to the water, I thought we'll have a canoe in here and then a couple of bikes for the kids. Now I kind of did this for the child girl being slightly older, and she has a slightly nicer older kind of bedroom, but you'll see those later on. So I've given her a bit of a bigger bike rather than the small sort of blue and yellow one for the boy in here. Now all of these plants are from the actual new pack, so yeah, you can see here things are jumping up because of the foundations. I am not able to move things close enough, I can't really rotate things. Yeah, my frustration was evident, and this took a while because you know me, I'm never satisfied when we do planting. It kind of has to be one of those staple perfect items, and it just really was not in here. And also I have just changed the game to autumn, so you're seeing all of like the dead plants, which is not obviously ideal, but it gives us these gorgeous coloured trees. So we now have this sort of yellowy kind of colours and the reds in the world, which I think is perfect given the fact it is actually autumn here as well, or fall if you're American. Anyway, so yeah, that is pretty much the front sort of planting all done. In here I do change, yeah, those fences, I wasn't really happy with them, you could probably tell in here. And also I can't copy and paste items, so you are going to see me scrolling through this category again and again and again, because 1, I can't find the new items, and 2, I can't just drop click them because they're debug items and they just don't work at this point. It's frustrating, but I am waiting on the other mods. Next week, for the next build, we should have everything back up and running properly. I say that as I am struggling to move the computer over to Windows 11, which means I have lost everything. But anyway, why wasn't I here last week? Well, yeah, so I caught COVID. It still sucks, and yeah, I had a video, it was all done, it was all recorded. I decided to do the voiceover early because I could feel I was getting ill, and then well, things happened over the weekend, and yeah, it basically became out of date. I then became incredibly ill, and yeah, I was not awake. I basically slept from probably Sunday night, from when I did the voiceover Sunday morning. I went to bed and I did not leave my bed until, well, probably Thursday when this pack came out, and I dragged myself to the computer to actually build this. So if things aren't actually in any particular order or I'm doing things a little bit wrong, yeah, I am very ill at this point. But anyway, here's a video for you. The life of a YouTuber and a content creator here. So yeah, that's why it's also taken a little while to come out, because one, I want to keep my original schedule, and two, I just wanted to sleep. But anyway, enough about me. Here is the back section of this build. So I have placed out a games table at the front here, because I thought it was a really nice sort of family activity, kind of very kind of campy, kind of like something you would do as a family, sort of if you're maybe even on holiday or something like that as a family. You just want to have some fun playing around in there. And then we have a dining table outside. We do also get one inside as per usual. But yeah, we now have the archery in here. But the family that actually goes in here are the ones that are like the camp guide that was in like the trailer and the counselors and stuff. So I thought they would be pretty good at archery. Turns out no. They don't have any skills when I was playtesting this. But I thought we'll place a couple in here, and yeah, we've got some hay bales around it just to provide a little bit of security and things like that, and also some planting around the back. Now this lot didn't have a very big kind of back garden. I was hoping to get in like the hot tub and stuff, because yeah, that's probably the one item I'm really going to use. And there really wasn't space. I could have made the back deck a little bit bigger to get it in, but I wanted like an easel, I wanted sort of some artwork, I wanted some seating out here and the dining table, and yeah, there was not space, and I thought it's really got to go into a deck rather than into the like actual ground. It just feels and looks a little bit better. So in the end we got in the swings and also the slide. Finally, after how many years do we now have a slide in the game into there. So yeah, I did try to put in a bigger kind of play ground sort of set, but there was not space, so I kind of had to compromise into there. But now we're working on the inside of this. So yeah, this new wallpaper, it came I think with one of the, was it the retro, no, it was the one before Enchanted by Nature kind of event thing, but it looked really, really good, and I think it really worked for what I wanted in here. So yeah, I thought a nice kind of feature wall going along this sort of back section into here. So this is the living room. It's just in from the front door, so this sort of opens straight into this living area. I did have to move the TV up onto the mantelpiece above the fireplace. I love this new fireplace. It looks gorgeous, and yeah, again, another one of the very few items that I think I'm going to get in quite a few places. And also this armchair is gorgeous. The sofa I'm not really too impressed with, I've got to be honest. The fact that it only comes in a 3, and yeah, I feel like we could have done with a 2, especially for this build. I think maybe a 3-seater and a 2-seater would have worked, but I had to basically settle on the 3-seater and 1-seater kind of armchair in here. So yeah, that's slightly problematic, but you know, it is what it is. I wanted to use as much of the new pack as I possibly could, and I feel like we've kind of done that with this sort of area over here. Now jumping over to the dining room. Now this is the one that's got the big huge windows in it. It's really kind of sticky outy, very big sort of points, and I've gone for the green colour scheme. You might have noticed the table that matches, or the wood on the chairs doesn't match the armchairs, so the colours just didn't really work. So ended up having to go for the cats and dogs table in here. We've got one from one of the events outside, but I didn't really want to use the same table inside. So in the end, I've gone for this one. It's a little bit more rustic. It's kind of different coloured woods. I feel like it fits, but it's not from the new pack. Horse Ranch works perfectly with this new pack. The two sort of go really well together, which I wasn't really expecting, because they're kind of completely different kind of ideas. But yeah, we managed to get those in. And yeah, some plants from that pack. We've also got the light from Snowy Escape in there, but we're definitely trying to use new items in here. And talking of horse ranch, here's a horse ranch kitchen. I get rid of it. I'm trying to find a big end piece and to sit on that sort of corner, because I didn't really want it just sort of ending with nothing. So in the end I had to go for this base game one, which admittedly I do actually quite like this base game kitchen in here. It is quite small. We do get out a kind of island in the middle here as well. Now I didn't get the bar in this sort of build, it just was not big enough for it, and I knew it was going to be a small kind of build. It's only on a 30 by 20, so it's not the biggest lot, but I was kind of actually surprised at how much this kind of build took up into here. But yeah, this is the very small kitchen. We managed to get in the new kettle, which is one of the early access kind of, or not early access, but if you buy it before a certain point, you get those. I just thought it was a little bit more realistic than a coffee maker. I've got to be fair, I don't have a coffee maker, I have a kettle. We drink a lot of tea here in the UK, I've got to be fair. It feels a little bit more realistic to me in here. We do also get the new blender on the sort of counter here. Weirdly, it doesn't come in many coloured swatches that, yeah, I don't understand why. I'm faffing here with a cup. I want the cup, but I don't want the tag from the packs that I have. So I'm faffing trying to get hold of that just to clutter up this kitchen. Now most of this kitchen is done with the kitchen clutter kit as per usual when it comes to my builds. I found actually in the parents or in the inventory this weird paper mache heart thing. In the end I just shoved it on a console table by the living room. It was just in their inventory. I don't really know why, but hey, I thought why not. I did try putting it on the dining table, you might have noticed. It didn't really fill there, it was just too big. And yeah, now this is onto the boys' bedroom. This is at the front of the build. I went very blue with this. He was kind of wearing some blue clothes, I think, and that basically just set out the whole sort of colour scheme for this. I do get out the canoe rug, as we will forever know it, in here, and then these sort of paper mache kind of paper art crafts things on the wall. I thought it was just a really nice little feature in there, and we have the crafting sort of thing on his desk in here. Now, as you can probably tell, we are going to clutter up a lot of this and move things around. Now, I wanted a doll's house in here. There really wasn't room, so I just went for a toy chest and this sort of stuffed sort of teddy thing in there. We do also get the imaginary friend doll. I'm gonna be honest, I'm probably never gonna use it again. They are a little bit creepy, shall we say. And then just more clutter. We also have the butterfly sort of catcher thing in here. The lot is actually close to the butterfly kind of conservation reserve thing, so I thought it was a nice little touch in there for him. And because he's like the younger of the two children, at least in my head, that's kind of what I went for when I was sort of building this sort of room out. And yeah, I thought that was a really nice sort of fun kids activity. And now we're going to move over on to the girls' bedroom. Now this one I wanted it to be a little bit more grown up in here. So I had this weird little, this room was a bit of an odd shape, so there's a little pop out on the back of the build, and it kind of created this really weird shaped bedroom, especially because you had another little nook at the bottom of the stairs. I thought what to put in there. I could have made it into the part of the kitchen, but then it was going to be another odd shape, and so I just thought, well, let's put in a sort of closet in there for junk, kind of, yeah, you know, you have cupboards under the bottom of the stairs, that sort of thing, but you can only access it from the kids' bedroom. That's what I was thinking, not necessarily more for clothes, because I did place a dresser in here for her. Now this one I completely went on a different angle, so I went for a reddy kind of gold, sort of orangey yellowy kind of look in here for her, and I thought a little bit more mature like maybe a tweeny kind of kid's age. Like she's just sort of kid, but not like, she's more teeny, that sort of thing. Obviously completely imaginary in here, but yeah, we do also have a little desk. I thought it would be perfect for that weird nook in there. And then this whole bedroom set from high school years, which works perfectly in here. I don't think I use much of this pack from elsewhere, but anyway, in there. And the new cushion, I love the idea with cushions. This one only has like 3 or 4 swatches that I don't like. I've gone for this sort of pink one with some flowers on it because I thought it was the closest to the colour scheme I went for. But yeah, that's pretty much this bedroom all done. So she's got her dresser, she's got her desk, there is a bookshelf in here. Now there's this bookshelf down here, and then there's a whole row of them upstairs. You'll see that in a minute when we jump upstairs into there, and then a couple of posters and just something more sort of out there. I thought maybe she was the artist sort of on the deck, like she's got some colours, like paintings, pictures that she's sort of drawn and things like that. Now this is where you will see I start to complain. I know we're 20 minutes into this video and I'm only just like, this upstairs area was really small and I did not know what to do with it. I wanted to put in a desk up here, but it wouldn't work. There just wasn't space for it. So we've got the whole row of bookshelves at the end here. I had to use this colour scheme because of the way the roofing worked. It was just too high, and it was going to leave that wood panelling on the inside. So I thought, let's just embrace it and go wood all over up here. The windows up here don't really do anything because they're half covered by the roofs from the ground floor. So I've hidden most of those when it comes to like windows and stuff, and then like curtains over them just to kind of hide them up a little bit. Now this is the parents' bedroom up here. Again, I wanted to bring in the green font that we've used sort of downstairs and the sort of dark woods and things like that. The new beds I really don't like. They just make absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. They are very weird. And I think I've only used one of them for the boys' bedroom. Up here we've gone for horse ranch. As I said earlier, it works perfectly with this pack. So yeah, we've kind of gone for a horse ranch bedroom. Up here I was trying to get this ottoman in, but then I noticed it had like wood underneath it and it just didn't really work. So it went for the backless armchair. Gorgeous piece, very limited choice. Yeah. Into here, and now we just have a few sort of plants, and I'm noticing that we've got a few other items that we've got from our other packs in sort of live edit, so I've just placed a couple of those downstairs. I think it's like the Parenthood magazine bookshelf that kind of works for this sort of build in here, and then just general kind of parents' bedroom clutter. I thought it was something that's kind of coming in. So we've got a book on sort of plants, I think it is, and so yeah, like the papier mâché kind of kids flower artwork piece. I thought that was a really nice kind of touch up here, just to kind of remember the kids by. Maybe they've made it for Mother's Day, Father's Day or something, and you wanted it up here. And then yeah, a bedroom. So this is the end of this video. If you have enjoyed it, then please give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel and you can download this from my gallery right now. But until next time, stay happy and stay building. Bye everyone!